Hello and welcome to UK Versus. What has happened to Richard? There he is. I am Brett Pendragon. No funny names today. I've been too tired to think of one. And I am joined, of course, by my lovely co-host Richard Plummer. How have you been, my friend?
I'm good. Hi, everyone. Slowish week, sort of like personally, Universus wise, haven't really done much playing. I've sort of got a couple of decks, haven't had a chance to sort of play into them yet because a local was unfortunate fire this week. But yeah, pretty standard week, really.
I was going to play in the Patriot webcam event because the plumber was supposed to arrive at 5 o'clock. He turned up at 6:30, looked at the shower, went, "I don't have the part and left." I was like, why?
Well, that's not ideal.
No, it is not. So, the big news for personally is that at regionals, the £10 draft is back. Big fun.
Cool.
I didn't get to take part last time because Mike did not beat me quick enough. He literally beat me 1 minute after the draft had started. So that made me sad. But I am very excited. We got huge news. We got backups. We got shift. We got controversy over shift because only one card had the correct reminder text, which I had to keep shouting at people to go just read Armor Titan. But they're like, yeah, but unless UVS says something, so UVS said something. Then we got the rest of 2024. We got Oceana regionals, and we got our first run of characters as well. Been a very busy week.
Yeah, I mean, I think sadly, unfortunately, I can't make the regionals and open another Falling Skies this time in my draft packs, which I was very happy to have done so last time at the last one. But yeah, I mean, I think as long as UVS are okay, sort of subsidising these sort of cheaper drafts, it's a good way of sort of getting people to sort of bite the bullet and try it. Right, on a reasonably risk-free basis, right? You're getting 6-pack for £10. Like it's a sort of a no-brainer deal, right? And at that point, you may as well sort of enjoy the experience and try it, right? Because it's virtually free, so you may as well. So yeah, again,
Little's going to be down again, so he's going to be able to get all that draft data and another cheeky Nando's.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I won't be able to see him this time.
It is going to be a shame not to have you there because the Dobbers were looking forward to having some team events, but unfortunately, we'll have to get them back in October.
Yeah, I've got too much going on in July, I'm afraid.
It's understandable. It's the first week of it's the first week of the end of term as well, so it's going to be manic all over. In all honesty, I probably shouldn't be going myself. I'm just a bit luckier because I don't have a wedding to pay for.
Mm-hmm.
But let's start off with...
Yeah, that's it. It's just, money, unfortunately, is being dribbled away onto wedding plans for next year. And it's also... we're going to London to see Spirited Away, the stage show, which is really cool. The end of the month, end of July. And then the week before that, it's anniversary. So we're going again. Me and the missus out a weekend in London. So it's just no funds for extra nerdy fun things, unfortunately.
I wonder if we can get away with asking for Attack on Titan 2 for our anniversary because it's in November. Well, wedding anniversary is in September, but Well, technically we have 2 wedding anniversaries, but that's beside the point because we have when we signed the paperwork and when we actually had the ceremony.
Yeah, that's fair.
But let's have a look at the meta breakdown for Oceana. Oceana got 33 people this time, which is really, really cool. That's more than double what they had last time.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, like, people might think of Oceania as quite a small region, and in terms of player base, it probably is. But, like, Australia's fucking huge, man. Like, I think it looks small because Mercator maps ruin everything in terms of actually understanding the real size of things. But I think, like, Australia, if you put it like flat, it would take up most of quite a lot of Europe.
I do believe that circumference-wise, Australia is about the same size as the moon. And maybe
it's
wrong about it, but I do remember seeing that comparison before. It is
basically it's a hell of a lot bigger than you think it is because, like I say, the Mercator map ruins everything in terms of actual sizes.
Yeah.
It's fucking huge.
But so we had
getting round for any sort of player base is not a
8 hours
task
just to get there and stuff like that. And it's
yeah.
When you talk to Oceanic players and NA players, and I say, I've got to drive 4 hours to my event, and is that your locals? It's like, no, that's not my locals. But we did get to all 33. I think this is the breakdown of all 33 decks that were played, and there is some huge conversion numbers here to the top 8, which is really, really cool.
It's also really cool to actually see the full breakdown. I hope they continue that so you can actually see the full breakdowns.
Might be a bit harder when you get to the NA stuff because I think they've got 110 people already signed up. But
again, it doesn't have to be a pretty graphic. Just having that information out there, I think, would be useful, right?
It's something we asked for at the summit. Is case of just give us all the decks that were registered at events. We can put it in a spreadsheet and see what the most played attack was, what the most played character was. What the least played character was and stuff like that. And we can actually get all the data. That it'd be really, really cool. This kind of thing is really, really cool to see. Great to see Younger to go back. I looked at the list. Not much has changed. The fact that Younger to go and Pony have a 100% top cut rate in season 2 is amazing.
Yeah. The Oceana is the first season 2, right? Yeah. So
we did have the webcam event that Tam and David ran, but that's not an official event.
Yeah, and I guess the Chaco 4, right? She ran the tables.
Oh yeah, Chaco 4 there was only one of, and Carl went through absolutely dominating. I do believe he got one loss because he wasn't in the King of Swiss area.
Yeah, obviously the new Godzilla characters coming out in force. We've got 3 Godzillas, 4 Rodans,
3 Godzillas,
2 Kiryu. So what we out of 33, we've got 8 from the Godzilla characters. So that's pretty good.
Yeah. The fact there was 5 meter 2s and not one top cut is a bit crazy.
Yeah, I heard some rumblings about that was the sort of deck given to people who were sort of new and were just to an extent making up numbers.
Basically, if you had someone new or had someone who didn't know quite what they wanted to play, people just went, I've got a spare meter 2 deck and threw it at them.
I think so. I don't know for certain. I don't know if any of our Oceania friends are in chat to sort of confirm that or whatever, but that was something I'm sure I read on the main cord. I can't remember exactly the details, but yeah. But again, if Mina 2 were genuinely 5 people in the meta, it wouldn't be surprising. She is an incredible aggro character, right? So
the stream got a lot of good people on. I have not had the chance to actually watch it all because it was not the most convenient, but I think Innsmouth made it on there, I think.
Yeah, respect to someone turning up with Innsmouth.
I know Apple's happy because although it was an Ochoco 4, they did side into Spike a fair amount.
Yeah, which I don't know if it makes sense. I don't know.
I guess it kind of does make sense.
Does it? I can't even remember what Spike does. He gets what +1 +1
for each 3 face down or each 2 face down?
I think it might be 2.
And if you flip a foundation, if this attack deals damage, you draw a card.
Yeah. Oh no, isn't that? Yeah, and then your attack gets +1/+1 for every 3 face downs. Okay.
Let's go. I remembered Spike.
Yeah, I thought it was 2, but no, it's that, and yeah. So
absolutely devastated by Ruin, but let's not get into that.
Yeah, so he's a 629, so he's got 1 more health on a Chaco.
Yeah. But it's fine to get both the speed and the damage.
Yeah.
But you need to build out. I think Godzilla has a good management. I did hear rumblings that they were the Godzillas were very conservative with that form.
Yeah, maybe Spike is better in a longer game, but a Chaco 4 has an incredible turn 2, turn 3 game, right? And maybe against the 35 health plus characters, they're thinking, okay, maybe a Chaco 4 can't burn through it enough, and therefore we need a longer game, and maybe that's what Spike's providing. That sort of makes sense.
Also, a lot more floor power because Godzilla's such a tanky character that okay to take the damage. Plus, if you look at the list, you've got the Falling Skies and the Jaw Jammers, so you're going to be getting the damage through because it's very.
So I'm guessing they're on water.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was running Battle Auras, Floating Drop. Was it Floating Drop? No, it was Battle Auras, maybe Floating Drop, definitely Falling Skies, Jaw Jammer. It was basically a very Falling Kill Strike, a very high package Falling Skies deck.
Yeah, I mean, because that's what Chaco 4 is, right? I guess, was it playing Tasty Rift? That would be the...
Yeah, no, I don't know. I think Tasty Rift was in there as well, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, that's the standard, right? Battle Aura, Tasty Rift, Falling Skies, Falling Heal, some amount of Jaw Jammers. I can't remember what else I was running. But, like, there's a reasonably, like, standard setup for a Chaco 4 that tends to vary, like by 2 or 3 attacks at most.
Exactly. I mean, it was the top cuts were very, very cool. But before we
fast hybrids,
let's give a shout out to Bailey. Incredible guy. Got to meet him in person at Worlds. Everyone I think talked to him a fair bit online. King of Swiss with Toru 2.
Nice. I mean, Toru 2 is pretty solid, I think, at the moment. I mean, you know, if you're expecting maybe a lot of Toga 3, like touring the first attack's probably reasonably decent. And anyone trying to sort of string you, just being able to bounce them out, like I don't think Toru 2 is in general a terrible idea. Like the issue she always had was killing people, right? And I think she's got a few more tools to actually do that. So
the Toru 2 was playing water. So I imagine it was a very similar lineup of Tasty Rift, Jaw Jammer, Battle Aura Release, all these things that get damage. And then you got the Tasty Rift because a 5 speed with plus 4 to your block mod is going to be very hard to stop.
Yes. Yeah, and again, you can play like Vast Hybrid Krakens. Like, again, a card list I think just very, very good right now. So
the big thing was we had an NA player going over there trying to pip a spot. Now, we won't go too much into it because Justin has agreed to do a little interview with us, as has Carl, so that's really, really cool. But he was on track to be King of Swiss and took a tie in round 6. He was completely undefeated. And this Air Rodan list is very, very cool. I just think it was a bit of a bad matchup, even though they were going second, to go into this younger Toguro.
Yeah, I mean, like, were they doing a lot of throw stuff?
The younger Toguro hadn't really changed the list since season 1. It was. I've looked at the list as well because I've been considering younger Toguro again.
So again, he's only playing a single Jaw Jammer.
Yeah, he's got a single Jaw Jammer.
So I'm just literally looking at this now.
True 100%, he's got a 1-of. 2 Tail Splitters, and that's pretty much all. That's definitely still got the 4 Trade Size, the 4 Azors, the 4 Battle Aura Releases. So yeah, it's not as memey as the other throw lists I've seen, which are running 4 like Jaw Jammers, 4 double palm shatters. They're just going, I'm just going to throw you to death.
Yeah, I mean, you know, again, I think it's still a good deck, right? I think Younger Toguro is still solid. I don't think he's by far and away like the best deck in the room, but he's still very playable, which is where I think they nailed it with the errata, right?
Well, yeah, exactly. We've seen one get played, that one top cut, and then that one take down the second place going second. He's still very, very playable. It's just that he's now a lot fairer, which is why we're seeing like Carl being able to take him down. The 2 Godzillas having to face off against each other did make me sad, and I would love to know if it was just a case of Nathan went first, so Nathan won.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's probably just whoever draws the most city rampages or something, I guess. like whoever gets their turn of 2 city rampages that gets to sort of go hard. Again, I've not done too much testing. I'm still a non-believer in city rampage, but I'm guessing they're both playing it.
The chaos list is pretty much how I would play it. It's running battle. It's running blue flame torment.
No, he wasn't playing rampage, then Josh was
blue flame torment because that gives you extra to your check. Black abyss, which gives you extra to your check as well. What are the dogs, which are just pure value in Godzilla,
and not really 5 diffs.
Yeah, having a 4 diff that's treated like a 5 diff that comes in with a 6/9 towards the end of your string is very big.
Yeah,
I might look at giving Godzilla more of a shout because my head just sort of looks at it. It's a dabby for 5 diffs. Oh no, now we have to try him.
Yeah, I'm just allergic to 5-handers. Obviously it is very, very good. Is he? Oh yeah, he's a 6-hander, isn't he? In my head, he was a 5-hander.
Because of his health total. Yeah. 34 is now the realm of the 6-hander. What do you mean?
Yeah, I mean, that's something we can get on to when we start looking at these other characters. There is certainly a creep in terms of health totals.
And there is, and if I did want to get started looking at playing Godzilla, there's an amazing deck tutorial by the Dobbers, which literally came out today, so I might have to give that a look.
Yeah.
But yeah, massive congratulations to Carl. Hope to see him at Worlds. Bailey did a great job getting King of Swiss. Justin, I hope you're having a great holiday and safe travels back. I think he leaves tomorrow. And Lonoko, get some rest because you've got a busy month. Because Justin and Lonoko were on the same flight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you should hang out with this guy. Is a lot of fun. Right,
but yeah, I mean it's a cool lineup, right? We're seeing 2 ponies, which is a little surprising. Like I think the character's obviously good. I didn't think it was that good, but it's obviously doing the thing.
They're very, very strong, and I do like to see a character that using counters get a lot more play. I just think it might have been a bit of a surprise factor because no one was expecting it, and also how powerful it is.
Yeah, but I guess the thing we're seeing here, right? If you look at we got 3 7-handers in top cuts. 7-handers have been a bit pushed out of the format, and they've now, but they all got beaten up by very aggressive characters, right? Younger Toguro can absolutely blow you up onto a Chaco 4. Definitely wants to blow you up onto Godzilla. Is just going to be flinging big bombs at you. As a pony player, you can't let any of them hit you because they're like half your life total.
Rodan is great and Pony's great, but if you haven't got the right block zones when they're coming at you with some power, there's not really much you can do. If you're saying that Spike's the meta, bring him to regionals. I know you're not coming to this regionals, but you should come to this regional anyway. Apple's season 3 character has already been decided, but we'll get to that a little bit later on.
But yeah, I mean, I like the air list of Rodan. I think Void is just better. I think it just has a lot more defense.
But who needs defense when you have Walk the Dog?
When you're going second, when you get blown up, Walk the Dog's good, but
you just have to kind of
other good stuff.
You just kind of have to slow your play down a little bit. But I know what you mean, and we saw it here. Justin did really well in Swiss, but lost to a very aggressive 6-hander, which is kind of what happens to the to 7-handers. And as Apple says, most decks have a counter, and the counter for squishy 7-hand aggro is much bigger damage 6-hander aggro.
I'm just scanning through, so that's 4.
So on Friday, we did get a very big announcement in what was going to happen in the rest of 2024. But before that, we were asked what IPs we'd like to see come into the game. And there was a flood in Discord. I got banned for an hour. I legitimately got banned from chatting in the main Discord for an hour because I put a list of 100 IPs in a message and sent it. And I got banned for spamming, which made me very sad. But I don't know
what you expected.
I expected them to turn the spam filter off when they ask us what IPs we want to see played.
Yeah, maybe you just do 1 or 2 rather than 100.
No, I condensed them down, which is why I was able to put it on Facebook. But I asked Richard to tell me his before, but I didn't ask any questions about it, so I could get a picture ready. But of course, the Horomaniac went for the now owners of a nuclear reactor, Genshin Impact.
Well, you mentioned nuclear reactor. I don't know what the hell you're on about.
So, MiHoYo, the owners of Genshin Impact, have invested in clean energy through a nuclear reactor to power their games.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about some in-game thing that I'd missed.
No, I think they spent like 84 million creating a nuclear reactor.
Okay, fair dues. I mean, like, MiHoYo kind of print money, right? Like, they make so much out of their gacha games, like because
haven't they just got a new game out now, like Zone Zing?
Yeah, Zelda Zone Zero. They've got Honkai Star Rail. They've got Honkai Third. They've obviously got Genshin. You know, there's been a new sort of player on the market in like Wuthering Waves, which is a competitor, but like MiHoYo is still like, you know, they're still like the biggest online game like Genshin is, and you know there are people that spend hundreds of thousands of pounds on this game because they're mega whales and they can afford it, right?
So I've got a picture up of Genshin. I recognise Child, Tartagula. I recognise Emergency Food Rations Paimon. I recognise the Travellers. I know Sayu and Bennett and Razor. That's pretty much it. And Klee, because everyone knows Klee.
Yeah.
So why do you want Genshin Impact in the game?
Obviously it's an IP I enjoy, right? I play the game a reasonable amount. But there's two other reasons. One, I think it would genuinely fit the game very well. In terms of like shifting the mechanics over to the game. Like it's a very character-based game. You know, we're a character-based game. It's similar to something like Soul Calibur, that sort of thing, where like all the characters have their own weapons. Each of the characters have their own signature weapons. They've all got like their signature moves in like their elemental skills, elemental bursts, which would fit easily into attacks. They've all got like talents and passives and things, which again you could make foundations from. And like, you know, however you split it, so you could split it by areas. So you can have like maybe like set one be Mondstadt, or you know, you have like Mondstadt, you know, all the different geographical areas. You've also got like the elemental system, which I've already worked out in my head what, because like there's 6 elements with 12 symbols, and I've worked out which 2 symbols would make each element in the game.
Or going off the article, you could just have a 6-symbol set.
You could, yeah. Again, however you do that, that's fine. And like I think trying to a big part of the combat system in this game, again, it's a combat-oriented game. Therefore, it fits in our combat-oriented CCG. Like a big part of the combat is elemental reactions. So, you know, you put ice on something, then you hit it with fire, you trigger a melt reaction, right? And I think that's something that, you know, the big brains in car design, Tim Freelieb and all his
but that could be really cool.
His team might have fun trying to incorporate. And I think, and also like the other, you know, in terms of how I think it would mechanically fit in the game, Genshin's a fucking huge IP, right? And there are millions of people that play it. So, like, in terms of bringing in a new audience, Genshin's probably one of the biggest. And you're also talking about a game that, right, we are a CCG, we are a real-life gacha game. That's what we do. We crack packs, we hope to open a Falling Skies, right? That it's a real-life gacha thing. Genshin's a gacha. Like there is a big, like the Venn diagram of interests of, you know, wanting that dopamine hit of clicking the wish button and getting the thing you want, or opening a pack and getting the ultra you want. Like there's quite a big crossover there.
I mean, so just go back to what you said about like the combo elementals. You could have the attunements be a lot more in line. So you could have like a fire attuned attack that had an air blitz. Or an air enhance?
Yeah. Again, like how I would do it, whether that's combo. I'm not a game designer. I can't think of how I would do it, but I think there's a good sort of baseline there. There's stuff to work with to then put into the game.
I think there's different rarities that have like a different shine to them. So like your 5 stars are your gold.
Yeah. So
that,
again, like
that kind of sets up your design as well. So your SR character would be like this gold.
Your Archon.
Yeah.
So Archons are like your gods of the area. So you've got different geographical areas, right? So for example, Maiden Shogun's one of the most popular characters. She is the Archon of Inazuma, which is like the very sort of Japanese samurai ninja type style area. The Archons tend to be the most popular and the most powerful character of the region in terms of getting them on your account. So, the Archon will be the secret rare. And people would wail hard for like a Chrome Raiden or a Chrome Farina or, however. So I think it would be a very popular thing. And like there's also like an in-game card game, right? So again, not everyone plays it. In fact, I don't know what the percentage of the player base actually engage with it. It's a bit like Gwent in The Witcher. Like you can just completely ignore it.
Who ignores Gwent?
I know. But like, again, the player base are already kind of have some sort of interaction with card games. They understand it needs.
Power Rangers to play the card game in there. So a Genshin card game would sort of immediately do it. And just like Gwent, it doesn't have to be the same that's in the game. It can be its own standalone game and still be successful.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but yeah, I would obviously love Genshin. I think it would be an amazing IP to get into the game for multiple reasons. I think the amount of money that MiHoYo would say, cool, this is how much we want, might be a bit too high. And I'd imagine they're also going to be a tricky IP holder to work with in terms of making sure that they, get everything right. But I think the payoff would be worth it. Not my decisions to make.
So you said the Archon would be the SR. Which Archon would you choose for set 1?
I mean, that's the problem. It depends on how you want to, how you arrange the products, right? Whether it's going to be challenger decks or whether it's going to be a booster set, right? Because the game has progressed. So in terms of patches, so patch 1 was just the starting area. Patch 2 was the Liyue, which is like the sort of Chinese-esque, like ancient China type area. Patch 3 was Inazuma. Patch 4 was Sumeru. Patch 5 was Fontaine. Patch 6 coming up is going to be Natlan. So it sort of makes sense from a perspective of that, of doing, say, set 1, that's the opening area, whose name escapes me. I can't remember what the first area is called. But unfortunately, the most popular characters, very few of them are actually in the first area.
Oh. I guess they'll have to kind of do it like with Attack on Titan. It's not based on season 1. They just have to kind of like pick what they think would work and spring.
Yeah, because basically the Archon in Area 1 is Venti, who's like this sort of it's like the Anemo, because each area is aligned with an element. So the first area is Anemo, which is like air, basically, and he's like this little kind of bard dude with a bow, and he's been very much power cracked by this point, and
it's not a huge top popular. Left corner.
Yes, literally the green guy in the top left corner.
Let's go!
Yeah. Not a hugely popular guy. So
my other question was Paimon, backup or asset?
In the trash. No one likes Paimon.
Oh. Now, I went through something a little bit different when I was going through this, and it's one that Mr. Thomas Redmond went immediately like, that would slap so hard. And I sort of like consolidated a lot of the ones that I put into my list into one, which is the Hanna-Barbera universe.
Yeah.
So that's...
Mondstadt. That's it. Mondstadt is the opening area.
Yeah, so you got Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law. You've got Scooby-Doo, Flintstones, Jetsons, Hong Kong Fury, Captain Caveman, Wacky Races, Catch the Pigeon. Hanna-Barbera would go so hard into this game. I
don't think it would be that. This feels like the sort of thing that might be a cool idea to do as like a challenger deck, but no one wants to open booster packs for Scooby Doo. Realistically,
I don't know, because
I don't think so. I just don't think it would be that universally popular. People look at it as like just a bit kiddie.
but I mean, it can be, but it's also you got that nostalgia thing. So it's one of those things that, think about it, if you've got kids that are around this kind of like cartoony age, you can have the conversation with them, it brings it in, but it also gets that nostalgia back. And I know many people that watch Scooby-Doo well into like throughout their entire lives.
Like a Scooby-Doo versus the Flintstones Challenger decks might be a cool idea. I don't think there's enough there to justify a booster set.
I mean, you could do an entire Wacky Races booster set, in all honesty. Wacky Races could just be its own thing by itself. Tom and Jerry. Could you imagine Tom and Jerry?
Yeah, like, there's ideas there. It's just a case of what's actually going to be popular for, like, the wider crowd, right? And while I think there'd be some people that would enjoy it, I just think it's not necessarily going to be a huge IP from that perspective. But maybe I'm wrong. But yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, it's a very expansive universe, very with deep plot. It's got a lot of interconnected stuff in itself. Essentially, if they made this its own game, it could probably rival Lorcana, but I don't think Warner Bros. Want to put that kind of money into it. The big one that people were asking for was, of course, Power Rangers. Everyone was talking about Power Rangers. I didn't get a picture ready for that because I completely forgot that that's pretty much what everyone was asking for. But we did get the following on from what the rest of this year is going to be, and it looks pretty hype. So, of course, in 5 weeks, we now move into the battle for humanity?
Yes, sort of mid to late August, right?
August 16th. Yeah, because I've made so many shots now that date is burnt into the back of my mind. But fair play to Card Goblin. If you watched that video yesterday, Richard from Card Goblin's been keeping up with spoilers by watching our shots.
Sweet.
It's a very long way to get you. I'm only posting like 2 a day, so it's a very long way to get them. But yeah, Battle for Humanity in August. Then in October, we get My Hero Academia, the Dark Hero arc. And
so that, obviously we knew there was a My Hero Challenger coming. Obviously we knew what was in it, but no one else does. But now they know what it's...
so hard when talking to people not to mention the name, but we were given explicit instructions at the summit. We were not even allowed to talk about the name of this product because of how hyped they are for it. The Dark Deku who flips is so cool, but that's all we've seen about it.
Yeah, I think we got to look at the actual card, right?
We got to look at the actual card. We got to look at the other side of the card. We got to read the card, and there's one thing I remember about the card, but that's it. Yeah,
I remember that it flips, and that's it.
He's a character that flips. There's one other thing that we did learn about it, but I don't think we'll have to talk about it either. But
no.
It led to a lot of us theorizing about a lot of stuff that's going to be going on. But yes, Deku flips. It's from his dirt, where he's being mistaken for all for one by people because he has multiple quirks sort of error, which is very, very cool. I absolutely loved this, and I think it's a great way to put things. This is like the symbols like evil and void and all that aren't in Attack on Titan. It's a great way to get them into some support. Not that I'm confirming that's what his symbols are. I don't remember. But that's just the fruit.
Yeah, I don't remember what the symbols are.
Following from the Dark Hero, then 2 or 3 days before our regionals, Tekken 8 drops. That is so much sooner than what we were expecting. We were expecting early 2025.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So... obviously, these are Clash decks, not Challenger decks, right? So in theory, these are going to be reasonably modest power level because the idea being they want Clash decks to be beginner friendly, right?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I think when we were shown these, we were a bit taken back that they were Clash decks. So
yeah, I think everyone was probably expecting, like, because there was no concept of when Tekken was happening, right?
Yeah.
They just said, we're doing a Tekken thing.
Here's
There was no
Tekken,
concept
here's the
of when it was
characters,
and
it's
what it was.
Clash
So I think most people expected a booster set next year, but obviously they're starting off with Clash decks, and I guess maybe that's a let's see how this goes with the possibility of maybe doing a booster set at some point in the future.
I feel like it's the Joker Harley situation where it's been a while since we've done a fighting game. So I think Tekken and the other companies like as such are looking to see if we're still interested in fighting games, and they're using this as like a first date, show us the numbers sort of thing. Which is why I think they started with Jin and June, who are our brother sister combination, I believe, who are quite popular. We did get to see these cards, and they do for Clash decks. They look amazing. I believe their abilities were quite cool. I do remember loving June more than Jin. Apologies to Apple, but mother son. I mean, if June is Jin's mother, she's looking really good for her age. Just saying. But Jin is the first character that Apple played at Nationals, and he's going to be able to play him again at this Nationals. That's really, really cool.
Yeah.
But I do.
Yeah, I guess we'll just wait for spoiler season for those to work out what their sort of, the power level, whether there's any cards we want in there as like competitive level players, which again we'll just have to see.
I think the characters are fine, but as soon as these cards get spoiled, I know Apple's locals are just going to be inundated by proxies. He's just going to be rocking up with Jin, getting as much practice as he can on any symbol that Jin has. But then we move on to Attack on Titan 2, which again we knew the name of, but we don't know anything about, which is Attack on Titan Origin of Power. Going off the visual art, this looks like it's a little bit later in the manga than I know about, because he's for some reason Eren's got knuckle dusters, and I don't know quite how you make knuckle dusters for a Titan.
With great difficulty, I guess.
Yeah. Unless he makes them himself somehow, but who knows? I do probably need to read. For making these shorts, I have looked at the first 50 chapters of the manga like 60 times, and I have not read a single word. It might just be easier for me to read it at this point.
Yeah,
but
and from the art perspective, right? One of those things that we got from talking to Zoe at the thing was that, and one of the complaints that some people have had from the set one stuff is about the art, and it's very much like the art grows with the artist, right? Again, I can't remember the name. Isayama-sama, yeah, that's it. Like he is very much learning his craft as he's going along, so the art gets better and better and better as the manga goes on and on. So I think because we're taking it from the manga, and we're sort of colorizing it, you'll see the art improve from a card perspective as it goes through, right? So
it's part of why it's part of why I've started this short series, because people were complaining about the art design, but it's like, look what they had to work with. This is the manga. This is the card. Look at how much of an improvement it is on this early manga. And then as the manga gets later, as we know, it gets better. So hopefully as it gets better, Zoe and the team have got a lot more breathing room, and they can go even further with their adaptations.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm absolutely loving it. I'm really excited to see what happens here. Lots of theories going around that this is going to have the other 6 symbols in it. Lots of theories about where this is going to be going. I'm really hyped for this. I'm a lot more hyped for Attack on Titan than I thought I was going to be. After the summit, after actually seeing some of these cards, I am so down to play Attack on Titan. And
I mean, like I said, there's obviously a lot of things they've done, and I think a lot of it's going to come down to how it plays, like how it feels on the table, and when it comes to deck building and opening packs and playing with other people. Like the proof is going to be in the pudding, and
how do you feel?
Hard to tell that.
So how do you feel about next season's locals being spotlight for local qualifiers?
They're not locked as
No, they're not. They're not locked.
spotlight, right?
No. So Sean put a post up basically saying, "Star Championships were standard, but local qualifiers were suggested to be spotlight, but could be standard." But
Yes, that's fine.
Would you?
It's totally fine. Like, this is what when we had the conversation with Josh, right?
Yeah.
It was, there's going to be certain scenes where maybe it makes sense to have them as spotlight, but it's going to be suggestive, not prescriptive.
Yeah.
Like, it's down to, and it should always be, and fundamentally, like, US Games can say, hey, we think this will be a good season to do spotlight because it's good for new players, blah, 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 blah. But if your local play group and your local players want to play standard, do that. If you want to play MHA spotlight, do that. Like, it's down to your locals. It doesn't matter. If they came out and said season 2, 3, whatever it's going to be, qualifiers need to be spotlight and spotlight only, I wouldn't agree with that.
Yeah, there'd be a lot of backlash for that.
Yes,
I think,
but the fact they're saying, hey, we suggest you do this, but fundamentally you can do what the fuck you want, no problem at all.
With the new Stronghold store, I am going to try and push them to do at least one of them as spotlight, because as fun as standard is, we need, as a new star, we need new players, and spotlight is a great onboarding tool.
Yeah.
But then we move on to something, the most hype product for me, especially after reading the article, Star Trek Lower Decks. And did you read what we get in these new challenges?
No.
So in the new challenger, in these new challenge decks, we get, do you know those scratchy posters you get that they change as you look at them? I forget what the names are.
Oh, you mean, yes, sorry, I remember lenticular cards.
Lenticular, yes. We get the lenticular cards that makes it look like the characters are being transported onto the Cerritos. That is so cool.
Yeah.
When we were talking with Mike about ways to advertise Attack on Titan, that was one of my suggestions, that we get posters up of like the Armored Titan, of like Reyna's card, and as you walk past it, it changes into the Armored Titan, or it changes from the Armored Titan to Reyna. And Lower Decks is a great way to do that on an actual card. I think this is going to be really, really cool. One of each character coming in the decks, 2 characters per deck. It's going to be really. I'm really excited to see, with all the changes with.
I am and I'm not. I'm excited to see how they do Star Trek in this game, right? As effectively as a non-combat IP into a combat-based game.
But it
right?
is. It is.
I'm excited to see what they've done with that.
I'd say Star Trek is combat-based.
Not really. Again, there's a bit of it, but it's just like I'm fire my phaser, right? There's not kind of engaging combat, right? From that sort of perspective, where you do have in sort of animes, right? They're fighting quite against each other, or fighting games. Like, again, it's sort of a bit square peg into round hole from that perspective. But I think that came up at the summit, and they said, yeah, we know, and we've come up with what we think is some really cool ways of doing this.
Also,
so remains to be seen.
I like the cheeky nod to other Star Trek shows in the article, with the Strange New Worlds and To Boldly Go Where No One's Gone Before at the end of the article, which is a reference to, of course, New Generation, Next Generation, and the Star Trek Strange New Worlds.
Mm-hmm. So I have 2 sort of beefs with the Lower Deck things. One of them is the fact there's 4 of them, right? And I think 4 challenger decks is too much at a time, just from a product fatigue level. I think 2 should be the cap. Because especially when you're looking at things as a competitive player, like, if you're talking these are like 30 quid a pop, like already effectively 120 quid for a play set for 2 challenger decks is a lot of money. Doubling that's 240 is a heck of a lot. So I just think for a product fatigue level, 4 is too many, and I think it should have been 2.
But if you counterbalance that against the rest of the year, so we got 2 in January with Cowboy Bebop and Trigun. Then we got 2 in Mighty Nine and Critical Role. Then we got 2 in Godzilla. We're only getting 1 with Attack on Titan. If we only get 1 with MHA over the course of the year, 4
that's
Star
not
Treks.
happening with budget.
What?
Most people look at it like, and again, it's sort of towards the later end of the year, Christmas time, maybe people don't have the money for it. Like, I just think it would have been better if they had actually, if they'd done 4, but maybe just spread them out over the course of the year rather than dropping all 4 at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, 200. Can't go and do really cheap for us. So 200 quid for a play set of the best cards is a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. My other beef with it is it's part of the Rick and Morty family, right?
Is it?
Very much a personal thing. Yeah, it's the same guy, Justin Moylan, isn't it?
No, not just no. Please be Harmon.
Or it might be Harmon. I can't remember. But it's part of. There's certainly a familial connection there.
No, it was created by Mike McMahon.
I'm sure
he's worked on Rick and Morty and Solar Opposites.
Yeah,
but he's not the creator of them. Because that's Justin Roiland and Dan Harmon.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I haven't watched Lower Decks, so I don't know.
You give me a heart attack there. I like Lower Decks. I don't like Justin Roiland.
Yeah, and that was my thing, is that I've not watched it, and part of my understanding was that it was part of...
It's Rick and Morty-esque, similar to Solar Opposites and stuff like that, but it's...
Oh, okay, no, that's it. So Mike McMahon is the creator, I guess, lead writer, who was the head writer of Rick and Morty. Hence why they're very similar from that perspective, I guess.
It's not as up its own ass as Rick and Morty. It's not as vulgar as Rick and Morty and Solar Opposites. It's more like Solar Opposites wall episodes. It's very...
I've not seen Solar Opposites.
Okay. It's like very referential. It's very reliant on Star Trek as an IP to push itself through. But it is pretty cool. The first couple episodes, you can kind of see the Rick and Morty-esque with
my issue with it is Rick and Morty was funny for about 5 minutes, and then it's just not. And I feel like the subsets of culture that Rick and Morty tend to get kind of associated with are the worst parts of certain cultures. Like, it's a bit sort of edgelordy. I don't know.
The best,
I feel like it just gives me the fucking ick, is basically how I'm trying to put it.
That's fair. People can... I get that a lot. Star Trek, Lower Decks, a lot of people hate animated Star Trek stuff to begin with.
I love Star Trek. I always have. I grew up with Next Generation, right? It was just even the sort of the vague idea that it was somehow associated Rick and Morty immediately put me off. And whenever someone puts Rick and Morty as one of their IPs they want in the game, I want to have a fucking aneurysm.
I haven't watched the latest season yet because I just gave up. But if you do like Star Trek, I do recommend Lower Decks. I'm a very casual Star Trek fan, but the references in there were enough for me to keep up with. But it's the whole concept behind the first few seasons is Star Trek go to these planets, they initiate first contact, they do all this work, and then they just leave these planets alone, and they don't really support them anymore. And it's about planets that have been retaken over by sentient computers because the Federation just forgot to go back. It's about basically second contact is the first season and the second season, going back to these planets that were in the original series that were in Next Generation, and being we neglected these planets and they've kind of devolved back.
Yeah, I mean, I might give it a go. If I get time I want to sit down and watch some TV, I might give it a try just because it's an IP coming up, right? But yeah, it's just, I don't know. It just, Rick and Morty was funny for about 5 minutes, and then it completely lost me. And like I say, just gives me a fucking ick now. And it might be just because I'm an old grumpy man, but yeah.
So I just got a message from Zoe. I thought I might be in trouble. No, it's just me and Zoe trading back secrets.
Oh, okay.
Well, I went to watch the Blue Lock movie over the weekend. That's not a secret to do with UVS, by the way. I have no idea. I would love Blue Lock to be part of UVS, but it's not a combat IP, so it suffers from the Star Trek. But me and Zoe were talking about that a lot because we both love Blue Lock, and it was so good. Doesn't beat Haiku. Doesn't in no way does it beat Haiku.
But, I have no idea what any of this is you're talking about. So.
Blue Lock is basically a crazy twink locks 300 under 18 boys in a essentially death game that goes, I'm going to make you face off against each other in football until one of you's the best striker in Japan. And it's about them awakening their egos and realizing they have to compete against each other whilst working with each other. And it gets so deep, and you find out past traumas. You find out about how competitive awakenings actually work. It's not and stuff like that. It's about and how all the different ways people can grow as players. And honestly, if you want to understand like how some of the competitive people in Universus work, go watch how these people have these awakenings in Blue Lock.
I mean, pitch didn't make it sound like the sort of family-friendly-esque IP that you could bring into this game.
I mean, nobody gets genocided, so it's immediately better than Attack on Titan.
That is fair. But yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I think that was all the product. I mean, other than Star Realm and Star Trek.
Star Trek Unite, was it?
Game. Yeah. What's that?
The Star Trek Realms.
So it's Star Realms, which is like a card game, basically like a standalone board game-esque card game. Kind of fun. Like I played a bit of Star Realms. It's not bad. Little like deck buildery type card game. So similar to a thing like Race to the Galaxy, that sort of thing, or Dominion. You know, those sorts of deck builders. Probably not so much Race to the Galaxy. That's more a tableau builder. But anyway, yeah. But like, it's a fun little game, and I'm sure that as far as I'm aware, it's effectively just a Star Trek reskin. So like, I haven't played too much of it, but by all accounts, like I sort of enjoyed a little bit. I dabbled with like the original version, and like it's a reasonably popular like IP. The Realms games. There's like a Hero Realms. There's like a version of that, like a fantasy version. So. That's so just
it's another multi IP card game that's just about ships.
Yeah, it's just it's not a collectible one, right? Oh. It's sort of more. It's in the sort of board game area, right? It's just kind of a side gig of UVS games, kind of thing. I think they've just sort of obviously got the Realms IP.
It's more a tabletop game.
Yeah. It's not a TCG by any means. It's like literally, you buy Star Realms. I've got Star Realms. I can just play that game, and like there might be expansions and stuff. Like board games always have expansions, but quite a fun little game.
So we had our first character drop. We started off with the commons, which are
first of all we saw Shift, right? That was the first thing we saw.
No, that wasn't the first thing we saw. Shift was the last thing we saw.
Okay.
So we got our first two character drops first, which was the Big Mouth Titan, who is ahead of the game and doesn't cost you an arm and a leg for the abilities, but might cost Eren a leg. For Richard who hasn't seen the show, during Eren's first fight, this guy bites off Eren's leg.
Okay. I mean, again, we're still seeing the sort of power creep here of life totals, right? So this is obviously one of our common characters. Just +2 on all of his attacks. Gets a free momentum once per turn, which is quite nice.
And you get to add that momentum with your hand as a form.
He's okay. He's nothing crazy.
If you have got a way to change the zone consistently, this makes Phantom Threat just really annoying.
Why?
because you change the zone, Phantom Threat goes to momentum, you discard a card from your hand, you add Phantom Threat back to your hand, and you put it in play again.
Sure, like you can loop it, I guess, with that.
But yeah, just being able to pick up an attack that you know is hit is very, very cool.
Yeah. Like just having effectively just once per turn, I'll cycle a card to guarantee an attack momentum is quite nice.
You're playing
Obviously,
on chaos, aren't you? So there's a lot of things where discarding a card matters. I don't know how many are just enhanced step only, but there is a lot of chaos and definitely a lot of fire stuff that loves to be in your discard.
Yeah. Like, you discard a random card and then add another card, or like, I'm sure there's things where it's like, because you've got the Suzuki ones where it's like discard, draw a card.
What is
triggers
the
off
name of that card? It's going to bug me now.
Oh god, it's not Master of Drunken Fighting. Trying to think of the Suzuki. It's not Beautiful Suzuki.
I'm
yeah, I don't remember.
So on fire, Big Mouth Titan can discard Lust for battle, remove it, give your next check -1, and pick up an attack.
Yes. Yeah. So again, there's things you can do with it, right? It's Steel Muscle Explosion.
Sorry?
Steel Muscle Explosion.
Is that just when it's paid? Is that just when it's discarded as a cost? No matter.
After it's just response after discard from your hand to pay a cost, draw a card.
Yeah. So yeah, you get to replace it. Yeah. And
it's the same as like the Deku one from set 2.
It is shit.
Don't think he's on Chaos or Fire, so
yeah. And you get to add a card from your momentum in both players' turn, but you can only pick it up in your turn, which is fair balancing for a 6-31.
They both say your turn. The enhance says your turn.
Oh yeah, enhance is your attack. Never mind.
Well, it just says your turn. And the form says once per turn. Because if it didn't say your turn, you could do it, right? Because your attack gets +2 damage. I'm not playing my attack, so it doesn't get any damage.
Yeah.
And do the thing, right? So, again, purely an aggressive character. Yeah. I don't know whether it's going to beat out any of the existing things.
According to some people, this is the best common character spoiled so far.
Yeah, again, it's just a common, so I think when it comes to sort of standard playability, that maybe we're going to look at higher rarities. Again, one of the things I don't necessarily like about the character rarity personally, but and the other thing this character's done right is confirm that characters have 2 symbols. It was one of the things everyone expected to happen, but this was sort of confirming that. He's fine.
Yeah, and then I've not got them all up. I've just got an example. Then we've got our first human characters, which we got Marco. Sacrifice 1 foundation. Your attack gets +2 speed, +1 damage. Commit if you have sacrificed 2 or more foundations this turn. Destroy one rival foundation. Yeah.
So again, first thing tonight, piece 723, life total creep. And that bottom enhance is powerful, right? To point and collect something.
Yeah, target destroy is always going to be powerful.
Yeah. Very easy to just sacrifice to him to get +2 speed, +1 damage. Sacrifice to, another effect on your board, and then commit on point and click one of yours. Your best foundation.
He's also a great anti-ruin card for the defense purpose.
Yeah.
So you can sort of sit there and go, I'll ruin block 1, ruin block 2. Cool, I'll commit and blow up the thing that's giving the most trouble.
Yeah, because you can commit on your opponent's turn, right? So, if you're blown up during your turn, because you can do his enhance, right? On the opponent's turn if you really want. The sacrifice foundation.
Yeah, you just pay the cost. You pay the cost, it doesn't do anything. Then, as you said, we got backups and shift attacks. I didn't get everything because there's no point going through everything.
Yeah, everyone's seen the cards at this point. So
So we got the shift attacks, which are high cost, high difficulty. There's high difficulty, high check attacks. These are 4 check attacks, just like we saw with Thermal Titan.
Yeah. These are just all the Titans, right? They're cool. Again, I don't know how much competitive play they'll actually see.
Attack Titan and Female Titan will definitely see play.
You say definitely. If you're down to play an 8 diff, then cool.
I mean, it's an 8 diff that becomes a 5 diff 5/8 on every attack.
Sure, you've still got to play an 8 diff, right?
That's fine. I'll spend 1 turn poking you with an 8 diff just to keep coming at you. Smiling Titan will definitely see play. I should have probably put him up. That's the one that forces your opponent to attack it if it survives a turn.
Yeah. Again, I think definite is a strong word. Again, it just depends how the meta goes, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I wonder if we do. This is quite possibly all of the shift attacks, and they're just doing the Titan things. I don't know if we've got any more. Obviously, we'll have to see.
I expect to see it. We haven't seen any SRs yet, and I expect to. Oh, we've seen the Thermal Titan Blast SR. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a Shift SR.
Quite possibly. But yeah, like they're just big dumb attacks that shift into some resource on board.
The Colossus Titan attack could definitely see play because it's if you're playing, say, like the Jin Void list, which only needs 3 foundations to survive an entire turn, you can play a 10 diff attack. But
it's not a case of whether you can or not; it's whether you should or not, compared to just playing good cards, right?
Attack Titan attacks is just good. It's
sure.
Not the Attack Titan itself is better than it. Deadlock Blitz 1 is not great, but being able
to be fair, no is a 5 high 8 for 8, right?
A 5, yeah.
And that's part of my issue is that the face here is not very good.
But a 5 high 8 for 5 is very good. And one that you can do on every single turn is even better. This basically says, you need to divert your attention away from me onto this backup, or you're just going to keep getting punched.
Sure. No, I get that. It's just playing an 8 diff. Like, can you afford to be playing like an 8 diff to begin with?
Well, luckily, Shishi Wakamaru can now.
Yes, Shishi Wakamaru.
Which we haven't talked about, and I completely forgot. Shishi Wakamaru got errated to...
Yeah, expected, right? Again, there was no other erratas. We'll quickly cover it now. There was no other erratas. It was as expected. Walk the Dog did not dominate Oceania. If anything, Falling Skies dominated Oceania. If you saw, I put in chat 5 out of 8 decks of Falling Skies decks. I don't think Falling Skies is getting bad anytime soon, but we'll have to see about the other regionals. But if Falling Skies dominates those, then it might do. But yeah, Shishi Wakamaru, we obviously that was the first interaction with the big secret rare 13 diff was Shishi can play it for free.
No, mine was suspicion. It just made me sad we don't have Mina 1 anymore.
My suspicion was that the Shishi 13 diff thing was going to be just a meme that some people might try and do and it would happen, it would be fine. But I guess from the play team's perspective, they obviously tested it and found that actually it's fucking toxic. And maybe let's not do that. Because yeah, like it being a fun thing you could do occasionally, but if he's consistently saying actually turn 2, I'm just going to ruin 5, not ruin 5, flip all your foundations, you know, at the end of a string where maybe you block some things and then I'll blow a thing up because you can't now block a 7 mid 7. Yeah, if that was too toxic to be a thing, then I'm happy that they just kind of nerfed him preemptively. And because they did nerf him preemptively says it definitely was a lot more toxic than we thought it was going to be.
The fact that they nerfed this but didn't nerf combined firepower says that combined power wasn't as toxic as Shishi Wakamaru released.
No, combined firepower's fine.
And then on Friday,
these attacks are cool. I like I think that's the theming here is that they are the Titan attacks. They all then shift into their Titan that does a thing. A lot of these backups that they flip into are quite good. They do a thing, but it's a question of can you stomach playing like a 7, 8, 9, 10 diff in your deck? And I think that is more of a bigger question than people are giving credit for. When you turn 2 this, like when you draw this on turn 2, it's a blank card. Like it's just a block. Because you're never playing this on turn 2. You might be playing this on turn 4 or turn 5.
Yeah, well, that's when they want the key he turns to be now, isn't it? They don't want people getting
Yeah.
But then on Wednesday we got teased that on Friday we would be seeing shift characters, and I was expecting all of them to drop, like the shift attacks. Like you said, we saw five or six of those. No, we saw seven. We saw seven of those because I've just done.
And like, so there might be all the shift attacks. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if that's a thing they say for these Titan attacks to sort of make them special. But we'll see.
But then we got the Armored Titan, and we got Rain and Braun, which 634. What is with these health totals?
Yeah. I mean, that was one of the first things. I think Rainy was one of the ones we saw on the day. Was these life totals are quite high, but also look at Godzilla. He's a 634, right? I think there is clearly been a creep in terms of life totals. We're seeing a 723, 634, 631s. The baseline life totals of characters has shifted. But that's just
backups as well, which are essentially pseudo life. Games are going to be going a bit longer. Weren't they trying to cut games down?
Yeah.
I mean, I think Rainer's brilliant. I know Nathan James immediately fell in love with him on Death.
Yeah, I mean, just effectively having a free sacrifice every turn.
And getting to build it back down. Very Kirishima-like. It's a shame it doesn't have Earth. Can use all
and just giving +1 and -1 to everything is quite good. Like 34 damage, giving -1 to everything. Like -1 mana sound like a lot on everything, but if you've ever played Tokyo Army 1, -1 on everything is quite a lot. Over 4 attacks, that's effectively an attack you've negated, right?
I tell you what, we did get to see though, which I was very hyped for, and I cannot believe that some people have picked up on. Is we got to see the inverted symbols. So all the other shift attacks had the inverted infinity. These ones had the inverted chaos and death and the inverted symbol set. And inverted chaos just looks so good.
Yeah.
That black and pink is so cool. Nathan James told me he loves the death one more, but it just looks so good.
Yeah, they're cool. I mean, again, you're not necessarily going to see too much of them.
I need stickers of them. I really do.
But yeah, obviously, so some of the questions were what happens to life total when a character shift? They stay the same. Yeah. You'd only go down if your starting life total was smaller than your current life total on your shifted character. But I think that I'd imagine they're all going to be the same.
Basically, they share hand size and they share life total. It's not a new life total like with Fat Gum 2.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever your life total is.
For example, if it was like a Fat Gum 2 thing, where let's say Rainer Armored Titan had 10 life, right? For whatever reason, then when you shifted into him, you'd probably could drop down to 10 if you're on higher. But I'd imagine, I guess, all the shift characters have, all the transforming characters, because they're not actually shift, all of them have the same life totals on both sides. But yeah, getting to flip 4, you get +2, you get to ruin 1, reduce that. I almost feel like sometimes it's just better to keep as Rainer face up and never flip. I don't know. I have to see.
Those are people
that -1 damage is really, really strong. Just -1 on everything is very strong. It was one of the things on Tokyo Army 1 that sort of went under the radar a bit, but just when he committed to -1 everything was very strong.
For sure. I think the Armored Titan itself feels like just a tanky Mirio. It's +2 to pretty much everything, and then reduce one attack's damage down to 1, especially in a Blitz era where all these big attacks are going to be getting the damage before the enhanced step, and you're like, cool.
Yeah. He's cool. But he's
the first rare character we've seen, which is very, very cool.
He's obviously more pushed than the common ones we've seen, right? There's obviously more to him, which makes sense for him to be a rare. Again, reasons why I don't like character rarity, but it is what it is.
I've been editing the big crossover episode, and it's been really cool to see how opinions have shifted. So, when we were talking about character rarity during the big crossover episode, some people were like, "Oh no, I think it's fine." And like, so it was like, "It's just more trade fodder." And then you hear the same content creators then going, "I don't like it." It's like, that's not what you said 4 weeks ago. I have the receipts.
I have been consistent on my opinion.
I have not been consistent on backups. I was anything going, I did not like backups in June, and now I do. What has happened?
Yeah, I mean, again, I think backups are fine in general. I don't know how much impact they're actually going to make, in all honesty, but I think they're a fine concept in general.
I guess it depends on what we see and ways to cheat them out. Because I mean, like the Armored Titan attacks and the Small Titan have got ways to be cheated out through blocks.
Yeah, and that's it. Like, if you can cheat the stuff, cool. But like playing them on face value, I don't know if you want to.
And if you do want a big list of ways to stop shift attacks, I did a whole video on it. The only thing I missed off was what Zach commented, that the best way to stop shift attacks is just to kill your opponent on turn 2.
Yeah, just play a Terra 4.
Yeah, if they can't play backups if they're dead, yeah, that's fair.
Exactly. And that's it. Like, sometimes you're going to make this effort to make a backup and your opponent just kills you because you committed 4 foundations to your 8 diff attack, right? You know, you play your 8 diff, you check a 3. It's like, do I commit 5?
Is it bad that that's partially why I want Spotlight for at least a couple of events? Because I want new players, these Timmy players that go, I've got this cool Titan, I want to play it. It's like, yeah, let's go. Let's play Spotlight. Let's play a system that was designed to let you play these. Let's play a nice game where you get to build out 210. You get to play your 1 attack, short or block it. You get to build it down. Let's go. I want people to actually have a lot of fun with these cards. And then I'm going to turn up to a retro deck with Mina 1 and be like, now I get to play them for free because she didn't get errated because nobody cares about retro.
Yeah.
I cannot wait to check a thermal blast and be like, yeah, I'll play that for free. Let's go. But other than that, I mean, there's a load of other cards. There's a lot of other stuff.
Yeah,
kind of going on.
And obviously, if we got here, you obviously go check on the main cord or what have you to see and there's like I think there's a card spoiler page on the UVS website where you can go check them out.
So on the UVS website, all the cards will go up the moment articles drop or the moment videos drop. All the cards will be on the gallery, but do go support content creators. We do put a lot of hard work in there. I know David gets them up quite quickly. I get them up quite quickly. Tam does his little Tam talks on them as well, which is really cool. The Dobbers have just done a whole thing where they talk about other mechanics that we may see coming in, which was really, really good. You've got the Dobbercast, which I imagine this week will just be them complaining about how much they hate Tekken. I'm going to be back on Tuesday at 1 o'clock our time to talk to the Oceana winner. It's going to be really, really cool. Me and Carl tried to find a time that would also work for Richard, but unfortunately couldn't. But
yeah, I mean, I'll be working. If I can wangle a lunch break to do it, then I will do, but unlikely.
I'm going to be grinding content for the week, and then I'm going to be trying to sort out my deck. I don't think we're not going to be streaming next Sunday because it's my son's birthday party on Sunday. So I'm just going to spend the entire day with him. I'm not going to have time to set anything up. If Richard's okay, we'll probably come back on the Tuesday to catch up on everything because there's probably a lot. But
so I mean, there's also another good reason for me. So is it your son's birthday next Sunday?
My son's birthday is the Friday, but he's having his party on the Sunday because Robin is away until Saturday.
That's fair because it is also some other cunt's birthday on Sunday.
Is that yours?
Yeah.
Hey. There you go. Got another good reason for it works out well. Yeah, so on Friday, me and Flynn are going to chill. Robin gets back from their week of filming multiple things on Saturday. And on Sunday, we're going to the park with a lot of his school friends to play mini golf and do some Nerf battles.
Okay. Yeah, and so then we'll reconvene on Tuesday, I guess.
Yeah, we'll reconvene on Tuesday, where we'll be talking about St. Louis. I don't know if that's this weekend or the weekend. I think it's the weekend after.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we can talk about those results and I guess any other sort of spoilers / reveals for Attack on Titan.
There'll definitely be some spoilers and articles throughout the week. We're definitely going to see more characters. They love keeping me busy with these shorts. But we're going to call it there because it's...
Yeah, there is one other thing on what we want to cover on the Tuesday, which is, I won't go into it now, but obviously there's been a lot of talk about the sort of simplifying things with...
We can talk about that now if you want. We can definitely talk about that now.
We'll go through it on Tuesday because I think it's going to be a longer subject, right? But
it'll be a week on Tuesday, so that's going to be...
Yeah, that's fine. I'll remember it. But yeah, like the sort of dichotomy between the sort of simplifying things, so mental loads of new players in, and the fact there's obviously these new complex mechanics coming in, and how I think people are missing the fucking point.
I think that might be about a week on Tuesday, because then we can also talk about the fuck ups with this reminder text, like how only one shift card had the correct reminder text.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a very simple thing. It's awkward as fuck, and I'm sure that UBS games are kicking themselves over it, and they hate that stuff, and they know it's something they need to just sort of work on and make sure they fucking nail down.
You've always got to account for human error, and we know because we talked to an hour. I've been trying to get out there that they're working on this. It is something they are trying to streamline, something they're trying to make sure goes on, and it's hard with new mechanics to make sure they get it right, and things slip through the cracks. They've got so much going on with this set that if the reminder text...
There's sort of reasons and excuses for it, but fundamentally that they just shouldn't exist. We need to work on. But well, we can, like I say, we can cover the sort of, the mental load sort of dichotomy in regards to sort of the new mechanics and stuff next week. Well, not next week, but
a
week
on Tuesday, and I will something like that. We'll see about maybe getting because Tim loves got card design and stuff like that. We'll see about getting,
maybe we'll see if we can get a guest on that wants to chat about from that perspective and get their opinion
about the mental
on
load and aspects and stuff like that. But for those watching on Twitch, hit that subscribe button, get notified when we go live. I'm going to try and keep going live a little bit more. For those who are watching on YouTube, do check out our shorts. We've got so many going live at the minute. Hit that subscribe button. Comment, let that engagement know, let Twitch know you're here. And I will now head over to Richard for the game of the week.
Yeah, so Richard's board game of the week. So this Monday was Voidfall. So it looks like a 4X game. If you don't know what 4X means, it's like a sort of, so I can't remember what they stand for. It's like exploration, exchange. I can't remember. No, it's extermination, I think. But basically, like space, doing stuff in space, and like building ships and building ships, learning technologies, exploring, blowing up each other up, that sort of thing. Think like Elite, basically, that sort of thing. Like it's just kind of sometimes quite sandboxy. So similar games in that area would be something like Twilight Imperium.
So for our tabletop friends, it'd be kind of like No Man's Sky StarCraft.
I said Elite. Elite's like an ancient computer game that's very 4X. Possibly the first 4X game ever in existence, I would say.
For our younger non-tabletop game friends, the 4 Man's Sky StarCraft kind of thing.
Yeah, no, it's more like Stellaris, I think, would be a similar computer game. So you're more, rather than on an individual ship basis, it's more you're managing like star bases and invading planets and just fleets and things, right? So then you get so
it's like Civ in space.
Sort of, yes, very Civ style. But yeah, Voidfall looks very much like a 4X game. You've got starships, you've got hexagonal maps you build out, and you've got starships. You go invading planets, and there's like a NPC faction. But don't let it fool you. It is very much a Euro game in 4X clothing. It's a lot of fun. I very much enjoyed it, especially as I won. There's a very close though between me and Gary. So combat, for example, quite often in 4X games, like combat is very much you roll a pile of dice against each other and win. Combat is entirely deterministic and not random at all. It's like you know the outcome of battle before you go into it. I feel like sometimes the 4X stuff got in the way of the Euro bits. But yeah, a very fun game. It has a high kind of setup cost, like it takes forever to fucking set up. And there are things that I would do differently about it, but definitely a very fun game and a game I'd like to explore a bit more. But yeah, definitely worth checking out if you like that style of game, but just don't go into it thinking you're getting Twilight Imperium. It's much more Agricola than it is Twilight Imperium for the board gamers among us. But yeah, pretty cool game, and definitely worth checking out if that's something. Voidfall, yeah.
Voidfall. So yeah, definitely check out Voidfall. And a week tomorrow at the Southampton Stronghold, we will have our first Universus event, which is our local championship. It does start, I believe, at 6 p.m., which is not the greatest for people traveling. But if you are in the area and you can make it, do head down. I'm going to try and get down there early with my demo decks so I can try and onboard some new people. But I am really happy to have a store supporting the game within a 2-hour drive again. I am so grateful to Rob and the guys for making this happen.
Sweet.
We'll catch you all a week on Tuesday, and everyone in the comments, wish Richard a happy birthday.
Peace out.
Bye.